The sun beat down on the training yard of Fort Redstone, turning the dust into a shimmering haze. Young Delta Force operators, men known for their discipline, precision, and absolute confidence, were gathered in loose formation, laughing at something just outside the camera's view. In the center of their attention stood an elderly man in a faded flannel shirt, sleeves rolled up, revealing a strange, circular tattoo on his forearm. His stance was steady, almost defiant, but years of quiet living had softened the edge once carved into his posture. The soldiers didn't know who he was. Didn't care either. To them, he was just another old man claiming impossible stories, an outsider wandering through a world he no longer belonged to. Then the air shifted. Boots thumped against the pavement, conversations halted, and silence rippled across the yard as a decorated general approached. No one expected what happened next. The general's eyes locked on the tattoo the old man revealed, and after a long, breathless pause, he slowly rolled up his own sleeve. What the soldiers saw next shattered every assumption they had ever made. The veteran's name was Sam Riker, though almost no one at the base knew it until that day. He didn't talk much. He didn't boast. Didn't brag. Didn't even hint at the life he had lived. He came to the base twice a week, sweeping out the auxiliary gym and repairing whatever the young soldiers broke through their training intensity. Everyone assumed he was just another quiet handyman, earning a few extra dollars on a military contract. The truth was simpler. Sam had nowhere else to go. His wife had passed 10 years earlier, his only son had moved across the ocean, and his house felt colder than the winters he had survived in distant war zones. The base gave him something familiar, something that reminded him he still existed. But the Special Forces recruits didn't see any of that. They saw a frail senior moving slowly with a mop, humming old war songs none of them recognized. For months they ignored him completely, and Sam was fine with that. He didn't need attention. He had lived entire decades in the shadows, doing things that would never make it to history books or public broadcasts. Everything changed when Staff Sergeant Cole Matthews spotted the tattoo on Sam's arm one morning. It was a symbol of a unit the world believed was long dissolved, an unmarked, classified brotherhood that had operated for barely 5 years before being erased from official archives. Cole didn't recognize it, of course. No one under 40 would have. Cole smirked. "Nice tattoo, old man," he said loudly, drawing attention from the others. "What's that from?" "A biker club." A few of the soldiers chuckled. Sam looked up, expression calm but unreadable. "It's from a place you don't want to know about," he replied softly. That only made them laugh harder. Cole stepped closer, crossing his arms. "Let me guess. You're one of those guys who claims he was Special Ops before Special Ops existed." Sam simply shrugged and continued sweeping, refusing to take the bait. But Cole wasn't done. "I mean, come on. You expect us to believe you were something. With that posture, with those shaky hands." Sam's grip tightened on the broom, though his voice stayed quiet. "You'd be surprised what old hands like mine used to do." That line was enough to ignite a crowd. The soldiers circled him with mock curiosity, exchanging jokes about grandpa hero fantasies. Sam kept sweeping, enduring it like he had endured everything else in life. But deep inside, a wound reopened. One he thought had scarred over long ago. Moments later, a sharp command broke through the laughter. "Delta, fall silent." Every soldier snapped to attention. Walking toward them with a gaze that could cut steel was General Raymond Wolfe, the kind of man whose presence changed the temperature of a room. He stopped inches from Sam, eyes fixed not on the broom, not on Sam's age, but on the tattoo. The color drained from his face. "Where did you get that?" the general whispered. Sam held his gaze for the first time all morning. "Same place you did." Then Sam slowly lifted his sleeve higher, revealing the entire emblem. The young soldiers frowned in confusion. What was happening? Why did the general look like he'd just seen a ghost? And then, without saying a word, General Wolfe unbuttoned the cuff of his own immaculate uniform. He rolled the sleeve up his arm, every motion controlled, deliberate, heavy with memory. There, etched into his skin, was the exact same tattoo. The yard fell into complete silence. The soldiers stared, wide-eyed and stunned, as the general and the old janitor stood side by side, tattoos exposed to the sunlight, two men separated by rank, age, and decades, yet bound by a secret history the recruits couldn't begin to understand. General Wolf finally broke the silence. "Recruits," he said, voice low, "you owe this man an apology. All of you." No one moved. No one breathed. "This man," Wolf continued, "served in the Shadow Recon unit. The program existed before your fathers were even born, and only a handful of us made it out alive." The soldiers exchanged looks of disbelief. The unit sounded like something from a classified military thriller, but the general's trembling voice carried the weight of truth. Sam shifted uncomfortably, clearly unhappy with the attention. "General, that was a lifetime ago," he murmured. "Maybe for you," Wolf replied, "but not for the men who wouldn't have made it home without you." Slowly, the story spilled out. Not in dramatic bursts, but in quiet fragments carried by memory. Sam had been part of a covert infiltration team dropped into enemy territory without support, communication, or backup. Missions designed to be denied if they failed. Missions designed for ghosts. He spoke of frozen nights in unmarked mountains, of radio silence where hope went to die, of brothers lost in places no one would ever visit. He spoke of the moment he carried a wounded wolf across a mile of hostile terrain, both of them bleeding, both certain they wouldn't make it. The soldiers no longer saw a janitor. They saw a warrior who had given pieces of his soul to protect a world that would never know his name. Cole Matthews, the one who had mocked him the loudest, stepped forward. His voice cracked as he said, "Sir, I'm sorry. I didn't know." Sam nodded. "You weren't supposed to know." General Wolf placed a firm hand on Sam's shoulder. "Riker, you should have told someone you were here." Sam gave a faint smile. "Didn't think anyone would care." The general shook his head. "You're wrong. These men need to see what real strength looks like. Not the strength of muscles or rank, but the strength of character." For the first time in years, Sam felt something he had long forgotten: respect. Not the ceremonial kind, not the superficial kind, but the kind earned silently through sacrifice. The general turned to the recruits. "You will honor him. You will learn from him. And you will remember this: heroes don't brag. They endure." From that day forward, Sam wasn't just the old man sweeping floors. He became a mentor, a symbol, a legend whispered about during late-night training shifts. The young soldiers began helping him clean, asking questions, listening to stories that taught them humility, discipline, and courage. The mocking never returned. Only reverence remained. And though Sam still swept the gym twice a week, he did so now with a straightened spine. Not because he needed the work, but because he had found a family again. A family that finally knew who he was. A family that finally saw him.